23 million naira were found in an apartment building located at number 16 Osborne Road, Ikoyi. The developer of the building where the money was found listed former chairman of Nigeria's opposition People's Democratic Party, Adamu Muazu, as its client, but he denies ownership of the structure. This huge discovery is coming days after another recovery was made from a bureau de change operator in the Balogun market area of Lagos State. Now let's discuss more on this. I'm being joined by a social commentator on the program, Abiola Salami. Thank you so much for joining us on Network Africa. All right, what were your first thoughts when you heard the news of yet another bust by the EFCC?
Well, thank you. I was shocked, and I'm still shocked, but I am hopeful, and I am not distracted. I am shocked because we keep hearing about the recovery of this huge sum of money in different foreign currencies and naira. These monies can turn around the destinies of energetic, visionary young men and women who are looking for somebody to support their ideas and their dreams in this country. But names are not being mentioned. Names are not being mentioned. We need to know. We can't just hear that the huge sums of money are being recovered. Some names should be attached to it. The name of the people or the person should be attached to it. We're tired of those headlines so that young people will know the real enemies of progress, the real enemies of this country, and those that are trying to rob young people of the great future that they have. I am hopeful because, I think that we will see a variable end to the layers of recovery. It is easy for some people to think that these recoveries are not genuine. Some people may think that recoveries are coming in as some form of agreement deals with the owners to avoid being arrested. But I want to trust the intelligence apparatus of the EFCC and the integrity of the commission, as well as the commitment of the legislative, executive, and judicial arms of the government to seek, investigate, and prosecute anyone found wanting within the provisions of the law. And I am not distracted, like I said, because just like many visionary Nigerians, we are not distracted by the news. We have resolved on our own to live a life of integrity, to use our limited resources wisely, to live a life where evil will not be celebrated and compensated, because we are the real champions of change. When we use our competence and character to make the difference within our community.
Right. Abiola, do you think that the recovery of monies, as you have said, is enough to say that the fight against corruption in the country is actually progressing?
Well, it is not enough. It is a fact, but it is not enough. That is why I said that the money should not only be recovered, the names of the suspects should be published and made known to everyone. Then anybody found wanting should be prosecuted within the ambit of the law. Because we cannot just be paying lip service to this conversation on anti-corruption fight. We need to see things beyond recovery of funds. I'm sure that those money, we just drop into those things that we saw the pictures online, the videos online everywhere. Some people put them there. So we need to find out, we need to know who those people are. The public needs to know who those people are. And not just about knowing who they are. Anybody found wanting, found guilty, should be prosecuted.
Right. In mentioning names, two people were actually mentioned. The owner of the apartment, a woman, has denied that it was her apartment that the money was found. And then, of course, the contractor who built that particular house listed the former PDP chairman, that's Adamu Muazu, as its client, but he has denied, owning this building. So, where do we go from there? Names were mentioned, but they denied any knowledge of such.
Well, like I said, proper investigation should be conducted in knowing who owns it. I mean, people can start to drop names. It's social media, it's Nigeria. People can start to drop names and start to drop suspects. But we are saying that a professional inquiry should be carried out into knowing who the culprits are. And once they are found out, they should be made known to everybody, not just hearsay, not just people thinking and assuming. We should have a professional conclusion from the EFCC apparatus saying that they are found out, the people in charge of this money, and not just this one that was recovered yesterday or today, the previous monies that have been recovered before now as well. We need to have names attached to it. Young people need to know. Young people need to know those people that are robbing them of their future. Young people need to know. Young people need to know the people that we should respect and we should not respect. Young people need to know where we should direct our prayers and our energies to.
Right, thank you so much for your thoughts on that. Social commentator Abiola Salami, who joined us on Network Africa today. Let's go elsewhere now. There's mounting need for emergency humanitarian assistance in Somalia. Aside from the cholera warning, a team of UN officials have visited the country to assess the drought situation in Baidoa and Kismayu, where more than 700,000 people need help. The United Nations says more than half of the country's 12 million people are in need of aid.
United Nations officials visited Baidoa and Kismayo cities in Somalia on Monday, April the 10th, to assess the impact of drought on people in the southwest and Jubaland states, which are some of the hardest hit regions in the country. UN Humanitarian Coordinator for Somalia, Pitt de Klerk, and John Jing, Director of Operational Division of the United Nations Office for the Coordination of Humanitarian Affairs, along with other humanitarian organizations' representatives, met with Somali officials to discuss the present needs of the affected regions.
Talked about how we can work together towards fighting the drought and to prevent a famine from happening, so to make sure that people get the type of assistance that they deserve. And we need the cooperation of the Southwest authorities very much in terms of making sure that this camp is safe, that we can build toilets and latrines here in this camp. So we need that cooperation to work together towards fighting the drought and the famine and the acute watery diarrhea and cholera situation.
According to the United Nations, there are about 150,000 newly displaced people in Baidoa alone due to the drought. The drought has also decimated harvest and livestock in the war-torn country, posing the threat of renewed famine 6 years after a similar crisis in which 260,000 people died in 2011. Around 6.2 million Somalis, half of the population, need aid after the drought, withered crops, killed livestock and dried up waterholes. Somalia also continues to be rocked by security problems, with the capital Mogadishu and other regions controlled by the federal government coming under regular attack from Al-Qaeda-linked group Al-Shabaab.
Still to come on Network Africa. African